Miss Stevie's start on the motorcycle is actually a pretty funny story. I've told you guys before that I bought the bike when she was pregnant with our youngest one 14 years ago. That was our first Harley, or 15 years ago, I guess now. And I had kind of whined and cried because I wanted another bike, and she had kind of told me that she really didn't want me to have one because, you know, the added expense, her being pregnant, you know, we were looking at a newborn and all that stuff coming up. But I had cried about it pretty much until the point where she said, fine, whatever. I think one time I went into the local Harley shop at their old location, and I had called her and said, hey, you should see this bike that they've got here. And I think at one point you were actually going to call them and say, just buy it, or just buy it for me, basically. And I'm really glad you didn't, because it was a Sportster. But we went in and we bought a Roadking. I've told that story before. We went in there and on a Sunday after church ended up buying it because that's how we roll. but it was, I guess it was a while after that, obviously, because you had the baby then. Your mom was over and she said, why don't you take her for a ride quick, because when we bought the bike we bought her and Miss Stevie a helmet also, and she had never been on the back of the bike.
Nope.
So I was like, well, alright, yeah, that's a great idea. And I think you were pretty hesitant at first, but we didn't go very far, dude. We just went south of town a little ways and then came back. You know, it was a while after that. I think it was the next summer, wasn't it, when we went on when I actually got you to go on it for an extended period of time.
That was kind of a forced trip.
Oh, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So I told Miss Steve, I said, hey, you and I are going down to St. Joe. So my parents watched the kids, and we jumped on the bike, and we went down to St. Joe, and that was on a Friday.
I do remember having, not sandals on, but not riding shoes, white capris.
Shot down to St. Joe on the interstate. But Saturday we woke up from our hotel, went across the street to the St. Joe Harley dealer, and I think, did we start looking at seats? Is that what we did?
Yeah, because my bottom hurting pretty bad.
Had the stock Roadking Classic seat on the bike, and I was fine. You know, I never even thought about changing the seats. But we started looking at seats, and Miss Stevie went over to look at shoes because she's a shoe lady, if you can believe that or not.
No, I'm not really.
Oh.
I just needed the right attire. Let's just say that.
The right attire?
Yeah.
You came out with a wardrobe.
I know, because it was flipping gold on the back of the bike.
That was because it was nighttime, though.
Yeah.
Anyway, she came out with Harley Davidson shirt, a Harley Davidson pair of pants, Harley Davidson boots. She got the whole fixin' right there. The following year, we had started doing poker runs and stuff like that year. And then the following year, we decided to up the game a little bit because we wanted to go on a little bit longer rides. And I thought that we should have a radio and a fairing and all that. So then we got the Electric Glide Classic Ultra.
I remember when we traded the Roadking in and we got the Ultra Classic, and you assured me that you wouldn't have to do a thing to it. He's a liar, guys.
Let's not get hung up on little tiny details like that.
Big fat liar.
Let's not get hung up on that kind of stuff. Let's not worry about the chrome front end that I had to put on it later, and the big bore kit that we had to put in it when we bought it, and the ape hangers, and every single piece of chrome that you could possibly imagine for it. And
well, don't get me wrong, the first thing we had to do is fix those pipes. They had to be loud.
We had to put Reinhardt's on it.
Yeah.
And you know, these Screaming Eagle pipes, I love them. I love the deep tone that they have. But when I sit next to Rocky's bike and he fires that up with those Reinhardt's on it,
yeah,
I just stare at it like, oh, I've got to have Reinhardt's. And when we had the electric glide, then we started doing longer trips. We went to Billings, Montana. We went to Tennessee, Knoxville, Tennessee. We went to we went to Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, obviously, Colorado, California to ride the coast. That was so awesome. I think that's definitely a trip that we have to do again someday.
Absolutely.
And we've been to South Dakota. That bike went to Sturgis, to the rally. And then I got a new job and we kind of stopped doing the touring as much because I work a lot more hours now and it's harder to find time to go ride, especially in the summer because we're so busy. Which is why we went to the coast of California that year, because we trailered to Arizona to her cousin's house and then we rode over to California, which Phoenix to the west coast is actually a lot farther than you think, especially when you're trying to dodge storms on the way there and telling you on the radio in Joshua Tree that it's raining, and you look around and you're like, we're in Joshua Tree. And then you drive another half a mile and all of a sudden you're getting downpoured on and it's 30 degrees and you get to Mojave, California, and it's in the 20s.
That was the time when we got there, I had to literally slide off of the bike.
Yeah, I had to get off first.
Because all my joints were so locked up from going through the cold weather and the rain.
Yeah. But then we woke up the next morning and it was hot. Hot. And we thought, I said, all right, we're going to get to the coast today. And I wanted to take some cool roads, so it took forever to get to the coast because I wanted to ride all these cool roads like canyons and stuff. We get to the coast and it's like, okay, it's 5 o'clock, we need to find a place to stay because the hotels book up so fast. If you look at Adam Sandoval's video about riding the Pacific Coast Highway, he eats at the seafood place that we ate at that night.
Yes.
And if you want to know what the name of it is, watch his video because I couldn't tell you what the name of it is. But for the first time ever, I had swordfish. And that came out like a steak. I mean, it was thick. It was big like a steak. It was like a 12-ounce hunk of fish. And it was cooked just perfect. And it was awesome. That was kind of one of those trips where we saved up for it for like a year. And then when we got there, we didn't care how much we spent on anything.
True.
Which was a mistake. Because we didn't know how much gas was going to cost us. And
yeah, I remember when we got into California, we knew we were there because we went to Denny's because we were so hungry to eat. And that was the first place that was open for that late. And we went in and there was a high-speed car chase on TV on the news.
That was in Mojave. Yeah, because we left the hotel and we walked to Denny's because it was within walking distance, just a couple blocks. And we were sitting in there, and then yeah, like every TV in the place just switched to the helicopter views of them chasing this guy. But when we got to Morro Bay, we found a hotel online before we got there. But she said, do you want an ocean view room? And I said, I absolutely want an ocean view room. That was the first time ever that I had ever watched a sunset on the ocean.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
That was gorgeous. Then the next morning we got up and we rode up the coast, which is absolutely amazing. So we rode up to Caramel by the Bay. Miss Stevie got to take her boots off and walk down at the beach and put her toes in the water and her ass in the sand.
I love the ocean.
But then we came back to that resort and we stopped there and I'm like, all right, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to go see what we can get this room for because it's going to be expensive, you know. And they even had like different buildings. It was a multi-building complex, I guess is what you would say. There was a restaurant and then the driveway and the pool and the lobby and the office, and then there was like 3 different buildings, and one of the buildings didn't have ocean view. Obviously that was a lot cheaper. and the two buildings
Turn?
did. Yep. But the building that was closest to the ocean, that one had, like, each room had its own hot tub and fireplace and multi-room suite type things. So we went to the hotel and we're like, man, how much is this gonna cost, you know? The lady behind the counter was super cool, and she said, are you a member of the Harley Owners Group? And I said, yeah. And she goes, okay, that's a $20 discount, because at that time Best Western had a deal with Harley Davidson. I don't know if they still do or not, but and then she said, okay, so we're off peak hours, because, you know, it's technically the winter, because that was the end of February. Okay, so you guys showed up here like at a time where we're just trying to fill our rooms. So we didn't get one of the rooms that was closest to the ocean, because those were really expensive. Like I said, you got your own hot tub and fireplace and stuff like that. But the room that we got was the building second closest to the ocean, and our patio door was obviously an ocean facing. We had an ocean facing room. Our patio door opened up and our balcony faced the ocean.
It was the best.
We had a fireplace in the room, and it was awesome. But then at night we went down into the courtyard area
By the ocean.
Yeah, and they had fire pits, like actual, like stone fire pits with wood out there. And the deal was that at 11 o'clock at night, they stopped bringing wood out. So you could be out there as long as you wanted, but at 11 o'clock, they stopped bringing wood out. So we went out there, and a nice older couple from up around San Jose, they had already had a fire started. So we were sitting there by the fire by them. A gentleman with his friend and her child, they came over and sat with us, and we watched the sunset and watched the moon come up over onto the ocean and stuff. And you could see boats out onto the ocean, and that was an amazing trip. That was a lot of fun.
What about the time where that morning I woke up really, really, really early in the morning, guys, and I tiptoed over the patio door, and I blew the patio door open, or slid the sliding glass door open, and then I tiptoed back to bed and just laid down and listened to the waves just roll in all morning. And yes, it was very cold in the room, but it was worth it.
And heaven forbid that she would just reach over and cover me up, because I didn't have any covers on. You know, that would have been pointless. She waited until I was an ice cold brick, and then I woke up and had to throw covers on quick. Actually, I think I went and jumped in the shower right away because I was so cold. But then we had room service bring us breakfast to our room, and when the sun came up, then it started to warm up a little bit, and we were able to eat our breakfast out on our patio. And
yeah, that was the best.
Yeah, that was the first time that I ever spent $5 for a bag of peanut M&Ms. Because I opened up the drawer to our room, and I did not realize that, yeah, it was a full bar and
yeah,
a full snack bar and stuff, but I didn't know that they were going to charge us for us after that.
Yeah, because we've never gotten a room like that before.
Thank goodness I didn't drink any of the beers that were in the fridge. Those are probably $9 beers. So that's kind of, in a great big, really long nutshell, Miss Stevie's introduction to motorcycles. And then 2 years ago, we decided that it was time to trade in the Electric Glide, and I went and bought this one. And they gave us a free riding course, and Miss Stevie took the free riding course, and the rest is history. Everybody, if you like this video, hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell notification so you know when we load up next. And until next time, everybody stay cool, and we will see you on the road.
On the road.